So today I'm here to give you kind of my final thoughts on Seauto's SAT20 model pool cleaner. Now, this is a robotic pool cleaner. It's kind of a turn it on and let it roll. It's got what they claim 180-minute runtime, which I'll be honest is fairly accurate. But like I said in my setup video, I was really interested how well the tire or the wheel design would do comparative to the track design that all of my other robots that I've ever used or reviewed have had. So without further ado, we're going to talk about what I like about this one, what I don't like about this one, how good it did in the pool, everything that I possibly can right here today. Here we go. Hey folks, welcome back to techgooch. And for those of you that are new here, basically I'm reviewing this specific product right here today. This is Seauto's SAT20 robotic pool cleaner. Now, there are a couple different categories of pool cleaners on the market. There's surface cleaners, there's floor cleaners, and of course there's ones that kind of do with the floors and the walls. Then there's the ultra high ones that do the floors, walls, and the surface of the water, which are pretty awesome, but a little bit spendy. Now, if you've ever had a pool, which my first pool that I ever owned was just a standard, like, inflate the tube and set pool and fill it up and have fun, 10-footer. I think it was when my daughters were still very young children. I hated using that pool just because of the upkeep. Yeah, I could use the chemicals in the water and the pool pump did its thing, but at that time I didn't have a robot and it was a nightmare to keep the water clean, the bottom of the pool clean, the sides of the pool clean, the water line clean. It got so bad that I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just done doing the pool stuff. And then 2020 hit and no public pools were open, so we got another pool, a 20-foot pool, much larger pool in our backyard to have more fun. And immediately when I got it, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna find something that'll do better. And that brought me into the realm of robotic pool cleaners. Now, if you've never used one before and you have a pool or you're thinking about getting a pool, my opinion, I would never own a pool without at least one of these guys because they make your job so much easier. They make having the pool enjoyable. I don't have to scrub. I don't have to get the vacuum that hooks up to the hose. I don't have to do any of that. I just throw this guy in there and let him do the scrubbing, which is itself a fantastic thing. Now, I have used 4 different pool robots outside of this one myself. This is technically the 5th robot that I've tested. The first one was, I just bought it because I had the pool. It's the only corded one I've ever used. And I still own that one. I don't use it really anymore because I've been testing these cordless ones and there's benefits to both, I'll be honest. And I'm gonna go through that here in a minute, all the benefits of why you should go one way or the other. But of course, this video is mainly about the SAT20 and my specific experience with it. Now, I take all of my reviews based at the core fact of how much did this guy cost, right? Now, I was sent this to review, so full disclosure there. I'm judging this video if I paid out of pocket the current selling price of like 330 bucks that this guy goes for. So I'm gonna base that at $330. That's my review is gonna be basing this at $330. I will compare it to my experience with more like $1,200 and in that intermittent $450 to $600 range is the other ones that I've tested. For the money, this thing holds its weight. It does pretty good. Does it clean the pool as well as the other ones that I've tested that are more expensive? It does not. It misses places. You may have to go down and reset this guy and hey, it got stuck or it doesn't know what it's doing, so it's just sitting there. But at the same time, it may just be thinking. This is the weird thing about this specific robot is that it goes somewhere, it'll stop, and it may stop and sit there for 15 seconds. It may sit there for 20, 25 seconds. And if I just walk down to the pool and I just go to check on it and I'm watching and I'm waiting for it to do anything and it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, well then I'll just pull it out of the pool and then throw it back in the pool and let it go again. And that's what I've done a couple times. I think in all reality, it just was sitting there waiting to go to the next thing because the battery definitely wasn't drained yet. It does have a decent battery life. The other thing about it is because it doesn't have tracks, it has these wheels. doesn't seem to go up the side as well as the tracked models. Does it get to the waterline? Yes, it does. And yes, it does actually kind of clean the waterline-ish. It doesn't spend a whole lot of time up there rubbing it and scrubbing it down like some of my other ones do. But it definitely cleans the waterline-ish a decent way. If I had $300 to spend and I just could not afford a $500 or $600 robot vacuum, this is not a bad option to look at. But like I said, I'm not judging it against those higher end ones because they cost more money. You know, do I think it's actually worth spending a little more? Personally, I do, just because at the end of this, and I will show you a picture after I let this guy run its cycle for 2.5 to 3 hours. It's full cycle from cleaning the floor and the walls. And then I ran a different vacuum, a much more expensive one, pool cleaner, and let it do its cycle on it. And it got a lot more stuff out of the pool. Now this one had some stuff. I have never filled the basket with it. So if you have a pool that's very dirty and gets a lot of leaves and stuff in it, like mine does, because I have a lot of trees on the offset of my yard, lots of leaves available, this one doesn't do as well of cleaning the bottom of the pool as the bigger guys do. So we'll talk more about this in a minute. Let's go down to the pool. Let's see this thing in action, and then we'll come back. Okay. Well, I can honestly tell you that this go around is doing quite well. I didn't take a before shot, I'll be honest. There was a decent amount of litter on the bottom, and we'll obviously see that when we pull it out, but I'm impressed. Okay, that was much better. The first time I did it with the full wall, it didn't get everything. The second time I used the machine, I did it just floor only, and it definitely missed a few spots. Actually, it missed a whole section of the pool. And I don't know why, but this time, also I did this one as a full clean. It's doing walls and floor. Looks like it did its job admirably. Fantastic. One of the things about this robot that is a little weird is that how long it takes sometimes when it turns around and it just kind of sits there. Like it doesn't know, it almost like I don't know what to do, and then it finally starts going. It's a little weird how long it takes for it to figure out what it wants to do next. And so here it's just coming to the wall now. Obviously the sensor detected the wall. Backed up, okay, it looks like it's there, and then now it's turned that way. Now it's okay, and then it doesn't know what to do. Okay, then it turns some more, and then it's gonna just go, or okay, now it's backing up. Okay, so that one wasn't too bad, but you can see how it kind of is. It's kind of weird. Why does it have to take that many turns in order to figure it out? And then okay, so it's going. Must be reading the pool. That's the only thing I can think of, is it's using the sensor to try to figure out exactly where it is and where it needs to go next that it maybe hasn't done yet. So it's just a little different than the other robots I've used before. Okay, so you can actually see down here, if I zoom in, that tells you it is done. I don't know if it's actually because the battery is dead or if it's actually just finished the cycle for the pool, but it did also make a high, like a beeping sound. It wasn't in the pool, so you could barely hear it, but it was audible actually. I was outside for it, so I'm gonna get this out of the pool. Let's see how much debris it pulled out of my pool, because it did clean it pretty well. Okay, so there it all is down in there. Let's let me take that out. It's crazy how it doesn't appear in here to be very much, but when it's on the bottom of your pool, it's very, very noticeable. But now the bottom of my pool is clean, and I'm gonna clean this off. Well, this is floors and walls, and there's quite a bit of stuff in the bottom. Let's see how she does. Sink, my friend. let's see in my one that I did with my 360 camera. No, it just, how much is left in the pool? A lot. So if you do the walls and the bottom, it just doesn't seem to do the best job of getting everything. So yeah, there you go. There it is in action. There it is cleaning. And of course, the last one I showed you there, that's, you know, there was still quite a bit of debris on the bottom of the pool yet. And that's the one that I threw my other robot in. And that robot, which is, I will be honest, a much more expensive robot, has a larger container, has a wider array, actually has 2 scrub brushes. So like this one only has the one brush here that actually brushes the floor and sidewall and pulls it into the vacuum part here. The other one actually has 2, one on both sides. So yes, they're not apples to apples at all, but more than anything, I wanted to see how much debris was still on the bottom of that pool that this guy did not get, even though it ran a full cycle. And that's where I'm gonna run into the differences between cycles. You can run a wall clean only cycle, you can run a floor clean only cycle, and you can run wall and floor cycle. So there's 3 different cycles on this specific bot. What I have found, and this is really, in all reality, you can pertain this to all battery operated bots. They have a finite battery. They're the most powerful in the first 50% of that battery. In the second 50% of the battery, it's still got juice. It's not as powerful as it was because that voltage is slowly dropping, and it definitely does not clean as well. So if you have a fairly dirty pool, specifically on the floor, run it in floor only mode. Don't run floor and wall. It will not clean the floor nearly as well. And that's the one at the end. I did this in floor and wall mode because I really wanted to put it to its limits. And then I wanted to see how much more I could get out of it while running the other robot in floor and wall mode. If you have a dirty pool, run this based on where the dirt is. The wall and floor mode is more of a maintenance cycle. Yeah, there may be some leaves in the bottom, just not a whole lot of stuff, but I want to do a maintenance cycle on the whole pool. Or maybe you're adding chemicals to the pool. Having this run in floor and wall, everything will just mix the water up more. And that's the other thing about having a pool robots is it really helps mix the water up really thoroughly because it goes through every little inching, nook and cranny in the entire pool and mixes that water up and makes sure that any debris that's in there is pulled into at least the vacuum or at least pushed up into the air so that the pool pump can actually clean it. So do I think this is worth 330 bucks? In all reality, it's not a bad pool cleaner. It never let me down. It always just kept going. It definitely lives up to the potential of how much it is, but I'll be honest, for what you're paying for this, the motor, the suction motor on here could be a little bit bigger, in my opinion. It could have a little bit bigger impeller in here to give a little bit more push for it to stick to the bottom of the pool, which is why I think it had a little bit more of a hard time going up the wall than the tracked models, because while these tires were spinning, it just didn't have enough push against the side of the pool from the motor pushing the water out. Basically, the jets keeping it against the side of the pool. I think that's one of those items that this guy could actually do a little bit better from. So I'd love to see a model maybe just a little bit more powerful motor or a little bit more larger impeller on it so that it gets a little bit more push against the side of the pool and gets a little more vacuuming out of it as well. Second thing that I've noticed is that if I compare this one to the $1,200 robot that I have, this one actually goes through, like if you have a whole bunch of debris on the side of the pool, on the bottom of the pool, and if you maybe notice that on the video, it'll get whatever it is, but it's going so fast that the water around it is also kind of moving, so it starts churning up the debris to the edge, which obviously as it turns around and comes back, that debris now is floating in the air. It's not going to get sucked into the pool, into the robot. It has to be on the floor or on the actual floor of the pool to be sucked into the actual robot. And I think that's another thing. My larger, more expensive robot goes slower. Kind of works its way real slowly through the pool to not disrupt all of the debris that's on the bottom. Of course, it's going to disrupt a little bit, but try to minimize that disruption so that it stays on the bottom, so that by the time it comes back, it is settled. Now, I think that's also the reason why this one sits, and when it hits the edge of the pool, turns around and just sits there for, you know, whatever it is, 10, 15 seconds. I think that's what it's trying to do. Let the waters calm before it goes forward. I think they should make it creep a little bit slower. I think it goes a little bit too fast, and it stirs the water up a little much. So that's just my thoughts and impressions with it. I'm not like, it actually is a pretty decent robot at the value. You know, if you can get this on sale, perfect. But, you know, for what it is, especially smaller pools, I think this fits really well with the smaller crowd. If you have a larger pool, I would probably go a little bit bigger. It's just going to have more juice. It's going to have more time to make its way back and forth to get those last pieces of litter on it. So that's where this comes into. 20-foot pool, maybe at the higher end of this guy's size, in my opinion. A little bit smaller pool, I think it would do even better. So that's my final thoughts on it. I will have links to Seauto's, or to this specific product on Amazon, as well as Seauto's website, where you can take a peek at all their products in all reality, but see other information if you're looking up specific specifications on this guy. It comes with the power charger. It comes with the hook. If you're interested, I do have the unboxing and first use video on my Geek Smart channel. And of course, they do have the owner's manual as well. So that's Seauto's SAT20 pool robot vacuum, or pool cleaning robot. Not bad. I think that it could be a little bit better. And there's one other thing I will say that I wish was different. And that is this little guy here, where all the debris is. It's small, if it's a small robot, but I wish it had a hinge lid on it, rather than pull this apart, lift the lid off separately, toss that down, and then go clean this guy. I do wish that this lid was attached and it was a more simple, just a single clip. It's something small, and it's not something that why I wouldn't buy this robot, but it is something to mention if they're watching, what I would change. Other than that, I have had a pleasant experience with it, and you can be the judge based on the videos and, of course, the things that I think are the shortcomings on this guy. So thank you for watching to the end of this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, post those below, or if you want to get a hold of me directly, head over to techgooch.com. If you have one of these robots, post away below. Let everybody know what you think of it. If you think it's absolute garbage, great. If you think it's the best thing you've ever actually put in your pool, put that down below. Let everybody know exactly what's going on. Thank you for watching to the end. Catch you back here on techgooch for another future video review, but make sure you go watch the unboxing setup if you're interested in that. So thanks for watching. See you again soon.